Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the hottest, newest, bestest, greatest. Am I figuring any words, Davey?
The greatest.
Oh, there we go. I forgot that one. The greatest
That's what I'm saying.
racing racing podcast on the interwebs. Now on Spotify, Google Podcasts. I don't think we got an Apple Podcast, sadly, but
We're on Google Podcasts?
yeah,
Oh my
I know.
God. We're on Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify's good. Give us a follow on there if you haven't already. Or, as always on YouTube. But it's me, Joe. It's him,
It's
Davey.
me, David.
There
It's
he
me.
is.
No, let me introduce myself.
Do it.
Dude. It's me, Davey Hazard, co-host of the Fake Racers podcast. They know that because they're here, but
I mean, maybe not. Some people can't read.
yeah.
Can't fault them for that.
So if you're here and you're new, this is the Fake Racers podcast where Joe talks about NASCAR stuff and I nod my head, and you can't see it because it's a podcast. So
Yeah, but I can see Davey, and Davey can't see me.
yeah. We're teasing a new thing here soon.
Yeah. Anyways, tonight's episode, it's a lot. We promised we're going to talk about the development systems in the next 3 weeks. We're going to start off with a fun one, that being the Ford development system, the newest out of the three. Or not really. It's hard. It's between it and Chevy. Obviously, everyone knows about TRD, but that will be the last one we get to because that's the one with the most complexities. We're going to have our takeaways from it. We're going to talk about Davey's fun trip up to Alaska with the United States Online Racing League Red Bull Cup Series. It was definitely a fun race to call from the booth here at JTN. We'll talk about the recent, I don't want to say the name wrong, but the last F1 Grand Prix. George Russell filling in for Lewis Hamilton. Also Sergio Perez winning in his second to last race with, I can't forget. I'm terrible with the names, but yeah. With his current team that decided to fire him. Or let him go, I guess. Didn't renew his contract. You also talking about, we're going to briefly mention some IndyCar related stuff. Davey's getting angry because I'm probably talking about too much news because that he don't like that.
No. I'm not angry at all. If you were looking at my face, I just muted my microphone so I could cough real quick. No big deal. We're good. I'm listening.
You're listening. I know you're listening. You're good.
And we're enjoying it. And we're going to talk about things that aren't just NASCAR silly season. Like, is Trevor Bayne going to go to this truck for 6 races next year and probably finish in the top 20, I guess? And I don't care about that. But this stuff I do care about. I'm intrigued.
This stuff being
what we're going to talk about today, and that is the Ford development system. Did I do good? I'm like a host.
You did. Yeah, we're going to talk about Colton Herta moving from the 88 Andretti Harding Steinbrenner. That's a mouthful. Ride. Moving his way on over to the mothership with Andretti and number 26 Gainbridge machine. Also, Santino Ferrucci exploring a 20 race option with Our Motorsports. Not your motorsports, Our Motorsports. The Daytona Road Course is replacing Auto Club. That news came out today, December the 8th, so that gives people time to plan, I guess. Also, we'll talk about the new iRacing content coming at you in tomorrow, I guess, or today, depending on when this podcast comes out, but coming at you for 2021 Season 1. And then we'll wrap it all up at the end, because that's what good hosts do.
It is what we do.
It's going to be a great episode, and we appreciate y'all listening, and we'll get right into it. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Talking about the Ford development system. Ford has a weird development system compared to a lot of... There's a emphasis on quality of driver talent. And let's start with that. Ford doesn't have that many seats in the Xfinity Series right now. This past year, only the 98 with Briscoe and the 22 with Cindric. Those were the only 2 Fords out there, and they still won the manufacturer's title, I think. No, maybe not. But they still won the most races in the series. So, hey, look at that. But there's a real focus on quality over quantity at Ford. Davey, what does that mean for just driver talent and just driver development? That's a good thing, right? That's what my opinion is. It's a good thing because you can kind of focus on these guys.
Yeah, I think it makes it harder for funding to come along for these drivers. Not necessarily that any of these drivers have had a problem with funding. we'll get to one who in particular is probably never going to have a problem funding in her life. But I feel like, like Toyota has it's kind of like it's kind of a renowned development system. It's been around, it's known, it's churned out this driver, this driver, this driver, this driver, all, as far as, I don't want to say household names, but like, the guys that the names of, they've all been through XYZ manufacturer, and you kind of look at Ford and it doesn't really have that kind of recognition. However, when they do churn out someone, you get a driver who is so well-rounded and as good as Chase Briscoe, or a driver who is improving as much as Austin Cindric. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I think it's kind of perfect. I like it personally. I mean, I don't know about you. You probably like it. You're a Ford fanboy, so.
I'm not a Ford fanboy. I wouldn't say that, Davey, but I mean, my favorite driver drives a Ford, and I mean, one of my others, but yeah, so the way the current Ford setup started out, it really started with the base of Austin Cindric and Chase Briscoe, and that's really how they've built this. They've built this program around those two guys, right? It goes back to 2017 when they were the two drivers at Brad Keselowski Racing. Then that team shut down, and these guys the following year, they put together the Roush, the 60 car that decided that it was going to wreck every single week. Yeah, remember that?
I do.
Cindric had the genetics to where he could run the full season because of his relationship with Penske. It's true. I mean, you can't discount the fact that his dad's Tim Cindric and is the team principal at Team Penske. But then Briscoe had to kind of sit on the back burner for a year, did a lot of road racing stuff, and that's another part of this program. It's road racing. They have their guys go out to the Rolex 24 weekend with the Michelin Sports Car Challenge on the Friday before the 24-hour.
Very good. Look at you.
And
I like that.
They do little stuff like that. I mean, it's something they've done with Deegan now. They are working with Taylor Gray, who we'll talk about a little bit too here. They're working on, getting these guys better. Like, Briscoe's got a guy that has a dirt background and a kind of, it didn't have a lot of, fanfare behind him when he got his original opportunity in ARCA with Chad Bryant Racing. And then he's kind of been able to build himself. Cindric, on the other hand, has had the connections, but he's been able to at least start improving, right? So they've taken two guys where a lot of these other systems, they only take a certain type of driver. But with this system, they said, okay, we can take a guy that has no name brand, and we can take a guy that has all the connections, and we can make them both into stars.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that they go for quality over quantity? Do you think that helps the fact that they can go for two, drivers with very different backgrounds and very different levels of funding or whatever?
Yeah, that's where it kind of, and it's hard not to mention Toyota and their driver development program when we're talking, because that was for so long, that was the benchmark, right? They churned out Joey Logano, and granted, he didn't have the success in the Cup Series that he should have had with Gibbs, but he's turned into a championship driver. A guy like Eric Jones, a guy like Christopher Bell now. Harrison Burton is looking very, very good here now that he's starting to get more laps under his belt. So I think it helps, because I don't think it's necessarily the quality over quantity, but the fact that they put the emphasis on the guys that are in the seat. They put the emphasis on developing 2, 3, 4 people. You get what I'm saying? It's not necessarily that they're... Because what Toyota does is they say, oh, man, that guy's really good. Let's sign him. Because we don't
add him to the program,
Exactly. They're not necessarily... And they've developed their guys, of course, but I don't think they've been able to develop their guys as much as Ford has, especially because Ford goes out, puts their guys in different forms of motorsports, and gets them seat time that's important and that matters, rather than just trying to get them as much seat time as possible. Because there's a difference between running a K&N East or K&N West race at random California short track and getting to go run at the Daytona Road Course in a, right below the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series. You know what I mean? There's a difference in that competition level.
I like that. That's something that I hadn't really considered. I didn't really think about that, but it's very true, and it's very beneficial for those drivers to do those things. For
Especially
example, I always kind of reference Austin Cindric. I hate to cut you off. I always reference Austin Cindric. I don't really like him because of the way he drove, but I feel like the turning point was when he ran at Daytona in a Mustang, and there was a video of him dumping some guy, but after that he kind of started to improve. He got better. Maybe you're onto something there. I like that. I didn't even think about that.
And I don't even think it's like, it's just you're giving them these opportunities to go out and improve their depth of knowledge more so than you're giving them opportunities to improve. Like, it's like when you're in grade school, right? A lot of people, they're going to stay to their 2 or 3 subjects. My philosophy has always been learn as much as you can across a broad range of different broad spectrum of topics. Yeah, I finally got it. Learn as much as you can about as many things as you can, and you'll be better off, which I think is that's been the focus with Ford, is getting, while also not, signing 100,000 guys to their development program.
Yeah, just kind of killing that pool of drivers with just like, hey, we got another guy, and they're gonna go in this seat, so you need to either do something or leave. It's kind of,
you're throwing them in the deep end,
Yeah.
like. And I'm really fighting. One thing, poor Christian Eckes, real quick. I didn't put it in but he just got told that he's not coming back to the to race with ABM this upcoming season after really not doing bad in that 18 truck. But
and that's the thing, right? Is like, you look at a program like, and we're gonna get to Toyota, but like, I guess this works as an example for Ford. Like the way Ford does it is, they have their space, right? And they put X amount of drivers in that space. If they add a driver to that space, they make the space bigger. Whereas I feel like Toyota, the space stays the same, and they just keep sticking drivers in, and it either pushes drivers along or it pushes them out. Mm-hmm. It's like they're trying to squeeze it in all the time. Like there's, God, I can't wait to get into Toyota. Like, how many failed Toyota prospects are there? There's probably dozens.
It's not even that they're failed, but yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. So let's talk about the prospects right now for Ford, and we'll go through them. We're gonna start with Austin Cindric because I think we got to start with the champion. Last year's Xfinity Series, or this previous season's Xfinity champion. Whatever you may say about Briscoe should have had it or whatnot. I mean, Briscoe fans sitting over here, but Cindric, like you said, very improved a lot. Won 4 races on ovals, which was the big knock on him going into the year, that he couldn't win on an oval, and he's developed those skills. It helps to have a fast car, but again, that goes into the Ford really putting their entire strength behind 2 cars throughout the season.
Yep.
Is that it?
You've covered it all. You covered it all. I mean, there's not much more to add to
that. Then you move on to Chase Briscoe, who I still consider him a prospect. I think first year in Cup, you're still a prospect.
I was gonna ask if that was the benchmark there.
Because it takes a year. It's gonna be a learning curve. I think having an extra road course now is gonna definitely help. But
no, rookies have to perform now or they leave.
Oh.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry, Daniel Hemrick.
Yep. Yeah, basically. Holy crap, God, poor Daniel Hemrick.
Hey, he worked out okay for him.
He got a ride. He got
a good ride.
Very good ride.
But he'll probably be kicked out of it because Toyota. Anyways, your favorite, Hailie Deegan. She's moving up to trucks in 2021. She's gonna have Mike Hillman Jr. as her crew chief. Won the Bounty Rookie of the Year in ARCA. I mean, congratulations. But if she didn't win it, I think it would have been more of a surprise. Ford signed Deegan to the program and was has been the biggest signing to date. Just because of the star power behind her name. And I think that she's gonna be ready for trucks. I don't think you learn as much in ARCA as you used to. So I think making that move to trucks is definitely going to be a good thing. 2 dirt races on the schedule this year too, so that's got to be something that they're looking at. Like, oh, we could go out and do good at those events. But for Deegan, I mean, right now she's in the third. She's pretty much the third person, I think, in line. Just the way we look at the Ford development system in general.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, she is, as long as she wants to do this still, she's basically probably slated for Xfinity Series racing in 2022.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Regardless of how she does, because she's not gonna do bad enough to where she's gonna have to leave. Because I don't think she's particularly that untalented, and there's no way to keep her in trucks for 2 years. I don't think. Trucks aren't popular enough, her sponsors are going to keep pushing her, I think, to get bigger and better rides, or to a bigger and better series, whatever that is. I think Deegan is Xfinity racing by 2022, and I think if she wins a lot this year, let me be very clear here. I don't think she's going to win a lot this year, but if she does win a lot this year, it could happen as soon as wait a minute, I'm stupid. I'm a year ahead of myself. 2023, she's like basically guaranteed Xfinity Series racing. I think if she wins a lot, she'll probably get moved straight up to Xfinity in 2022. My bad. It's really hard when the season's over and we're still in 2020.
It is. You're good.
I
was like, wow, you think it's only going to take her a year to get up there, which I don't think is unfair to say, because again, there's going to be a lot of upward. There's going to be a lot of upward pressure, because you want her You're right. Her sponsors are going to want her to get to a bigger stage, and if she can show that she's ready for it, I mean.
Yeah, in a weird way, I almost don't disagree with myself, even though I was wrong.
Yeah.
With how I was wording it, but I think safe bet, guaranteed Xfinity Series driver, 2023.
Yeah.
Pretty safely, despite performance.
Probably going up to the 98, unless DGR opens an Xfinity team. Probably that'd be my bet.
Yeah, she's probably gonna get the 98.
Because right now we don't have a driver for the 98, but everyone says it's going to be Riley Herbst for some reason. So.
Yeah, I don't.
He's got money. Hey man, maybe I get. Here's the other thing too. Just sidebar about this last year. Bless you, Davey. I saw you coughing.
Shut up.
You did good.
I know. I do. I cough a lot more than you think.
Professional, folks. Professional Davey Hazard.
I am a professional.
See. I think the challenge about this upcoming season, it's no practice again for the most part, except at new venues for guys. I think that's a huge challenge for people that are stepping in. I think that's obviously why they put Deegan in the truck at Kansas this past year, because they can say, oh well, she ran ARCA races here, so she knows the track, she can run a truck here, and then to prove okay, now she can, because that's how NASCAR does it, right? I am skeptical. Oh, also, ARCA's the day after trucks this year, too, at Daytona. So, they couldn't have her drive the ARCA race to get approved for the truck race. They can't do that anymore. With the way...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Unless they change, how they're gonna... But, yeah, ARCA race is the Saturday now with the Xfinity race. So, hey, Davey, go on Saturday. You'll be able to... Great race in action down there in Daytona. Anyways.
Yeah. Quick question. You probably don't know. ARCA usually does, or they have done in the past, more recently than NASCAR, they've done testing in Daytona. Maybe
they did this last year.
Yeah, maybe that would be a thing where they could get an approval at the testing session, but I don't know if they're doing.
I don't foresee them doing that this year. A lot of the teams probably lost a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little bit of revenue they had, but they lost it. Yeah, but it's going to be about tempering expectations for Deegan. I think people are going to want her to be top 10, top 5 out the gate. DGR, I mean, I think they can do it, but Tanner Gray, excuse me, this last season when he was in the 15 full time, he struggled. You also had when David Reagan was in the 17, which was their part-time, all-star truck or whatever you want to call it. He didn't have the greatest of runs, and we know David Reagan's a good race car driver, or at least good enough to where he should have been running top 10. He was up there though, But just tempering your expectations for those guys there at DGR Crosley as they continue to build the Ford Truck Series team, because it's not the other thing to think about. People always talk about ThorSport. ThorSport is a little more independent from my understanding of it, because the only reason ThorSport switched to Ford was because Ford didn't have a truck team, and everyone uses the Ilmor engines anyways, so it's not like there was any extra support like motor wise. But anyways, moving on. Well, Todd Gilliland. Moving on. Todd Gilliland. I put a question mark next to this one because we still don't know what his plans are for this next year. If Front Row is going to continue to field a Truck Series team for him, which was pretty much just a DGR truck that they slapped a Front Row badge on.
Nice.
Hey, if it gets you a seat. Unknown plans at this point. He could be back with Front Row and trucks, but there's also the Cup seat open at Front Row still that we don't know who's going to be driving that.
That would be something.
John Hunter Nemechek goes from Cup to trucks. Gilliland goes from trucks to Cup. I don't think that's that big of a jump anymore either.
No, not anymore. But the way everything is now,
mm-hmm.
How quickly everything changes, and also the package.
The package. Todd Gilliland, though, he was a guy that was in the Toyota development system for a while, and obviously had the little spat with Kyle Busch not really spat. I think he kind of just said, screw you.
Yeah.
After he won the race, but
got his dub and went home.
Pretty much. Didn't have the greatest of years this year, but again, new team, so and trucks was so competitive this year. I mean, GMS fielded 5 trucks for the most part throughout the year, especially once NASCAR took away the limit, the 32 truck limit, and said, okay, 40 trucks. Todd Gilliland, a guy you see being viable for Ford to continue to try to work with, or do you think he's kind of just going to be just one of those guys that's just, you see his name on the ticker rolling across the top of the screen right now?
God, Todd Gilliland. I don't think he's going to be the development driver guy. I don't necessarily think that he's just going to be a name you see. I think he's going to float around a little bit, but Todd Gilliland is all right. I think he'll find his place somewhere. I don't think it'll be as a development driver, though. He's kind of been around a couple seasons now.
Yeah.
In that scene. He's kind of, I wouldn't say established, but, if Todd Gilliland's in the race, Todd Gilliland's in the race. It's not like Haley Deegan or Tanner Gray, the rookie. It's just, it's Todd Gilliland.
All right, moving on then. Tanner Gray ran trucks full-time this last year, comes over from drag racing a few years ago, where he was a pro stock champion. This is stuff that I should have looked up, right?
These young drivers, man, I don't even know. I've lost touch with the younger generation.
That's fine. He made history. He's winning the final round of the... Yeah, he won the Pro Stock title in 2018, becoming the youngest ever champion. Decided he would go racing with DGR Crosley, so maybe he's more of a DGR guy, but again, Ford is bought into building DGR as their development truck program. Tanner Gray, he's a guy that didn't do too great this past year, but there were moments where that 15 truck was up front. I know you don't know. Again, you said you didn't know a lot about him, but anything? Any notes? Anything?
I do. I watch the truck races here and there. It was really hard. It was really hard this past year with the pandemic stuff. I didn't know when. I never knew when a race was on.
Thanks, NASCAR.
The way I kind of judge. That was kind of a mess. The way I kind of judge that is like, I did a little bit of research. Like I saw racing reference stats. That doesn't obviously tell the whole story. I didn't ever notice them in the truck series, which if you're running a truck that appears to have decent amount of funding, has backing from a manufacturer, I would expect a little bit better. You can't always get that. Roush for however many years in the recent past was a great example of that. Probably a year we might have to step it up, make some waves.
Especially
that was one of.
Sorry. I was gonna say,
Go ahead, no,
especially if Haley Deegan's your teammate.
Yo, yes, heavens, yes. Yeah. Even just it just make headlines. I mean, I don't.
Win a
Tanner
race.
Gray. Don't even want to. You don't even gotta win a race to make headlines. Do something.
Wreck
Get
somebody.
noticed. Wreck somebody. If you get the eyes on you, maybe you need that little bit of prayer. Who knows? Who knows? One of my favorite things from I'm gonna tangent real quick. One of my favorite things from Parker Kligerman's Dinner with Racers podcast. You should definitely check the podcast out if you haven't already. If Tommy's listening to this, he's been telling me he's gonna check out the Dinner with Racers podcast for like a year, and he hasn't listened to like a single episode except for the Alan Kulicki ones. I'm gonna beat his ass. One of my favorite things from the Parker Kligerman one, when he got fired, he basically got fired from Penske and BKR like in successive weeks almost.
Yep.
But he said his favorite thing, or one of the things he took from those firings, was someone told him that he didn't make enough headlines. So it's a big deal. Teams care about that.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the performance. Like obviously they want you to perform, but make headlines at least.
Well, and Penske also had a young cat named Ryan Blaney coming up too, so that was, I believe that was probably part of that there. But
oh yeah, for sure.
And I mean that's a common thread with when we were talking about whether it be a team or a manufacturer developing drivers, and that's a good segue because somebody has a younger brother that's right up behind him on the slate. He's our last guy, Taylor Gray. Made headlines to prove your point. There were a couple races where he was banging fenders with
I've heard more about Taylor Gray than Tanner Gray. I'll tell you that much right now.
I mean, he was up there with Sam Mayer, who's a hot young prospect. Love him or hate him, but Taylor Gray. Oh, cool actor. That's not who I want. I got it.
I'm sorry, I'm not tired, I promise.
I think he won an ARCA race this past year. What Racing Reference is for? Racing Reference. Oh, he didn't. He did.
He won a West Series race. Yes.
Oh, good old ARCA West.
Yeah, not saying much, but he did seemingly perform pretty well in a less than stacked ARCA series, but ARCA nonetheless.
Hey, 8 top 5s is nothing in ARCA. Top 5s, like top 10s aren't really saying much in ARCA, just with the way the field was this year, especially when you only had like 15 guys showing up.
Yeah. Hey, got 4 more top 5s than Haley Deegan in 8 less races.
Oof.
That is not a joke.
But Taylor Gray's a guy that I think, he's young, right? I think he's only 16 or 17, so he's still got a little bit before he's going to be able to go truck racing. But he should be able to do more ARCA races this year, so that'll be good. But that's someone to watch out for, and especially if he can continue to your point, make headlines, because that's a big thing. That is a big thing. In a day where social media is so big, just how many likes do you have on your posts is a big thing for sponsors, because sponsors, they don't want to sponsor the guy that is necessarily running up front, because the guy running up front isn't always the guy getting shown during a race. They want the guy that's making headlines, that's getting interviews after races, that they can put, their big sponsor logos on the fire suit.
Exactly. I mean, that's the basis of what you can promise a sponsor, right? Is the exposure. You can say whatever you want about putting a logo on a car. If it's an ARCA race or if it's a truck race, fact of the matter is you're going to have to try really hard to get a logo on the car just from having eyes on the car. If a driver has enough personality or makes enough waves in social media, says whatever it is, like some drivers will be like, "Oh, I take care of things on the racetrack." Okay, you old bastard. But like, if he's getting like 1,000 likes per tweet on some spicy stuff, that shows up. You can say like, "Oh, my driver has this," Agent A says driver X has this many followers. Their posts get this much reach. Sponsor my driver. I mean, that just leads to things. It compounds on itself. It's not as simple as finishing top 5 or whatever.
Even though we wish it was, but
we wish it was, but
that's not always the.
Gotta get the moolah.
Money's good. Money's tight. Money. pocket. But overall, Davey, let's sum it up here for everybody. This system, this Ford system, it works. We know it works. We've seen now 2 guys that we know are going to be Cup racing come next, not 2021, but 2022. But, Cindric's going to be running part-time this year up in Cup 2. I'm assuming, the road courses and the 500. Just where he has a better shot of winning races. This system works. It works because Ford has done their research on their drivers, and you can go. There's all kinds of interviews out there. Tony Stewart did a really good interview about it.
Oh my goodness, yes, he did. That was great.
Oh, I loved his interview.
I know you did. I know you liked it.
It works because they care about these guys. That it's not just saying, oh, we want our cars to win. We want to create drivers that are good representatives for Ford, for the teams that we are in an alliance with that run our cars. And also, we want to have that success on racetracks. So they've been able to find that good balance there between those 3 very key aspects, where I think some other programs kind of fail at doing so.
It's a very Ford approach to it, as far as, Ford always kind of having that knack, not necessarily knack for motorsports, but that want and that need to be competitive in motorsports, putting in the effort. I can make a couple of random, not references, but I could allude to some other things that, in my opinion, are in the same vein that might not make a lot of sense because I haven't formed a thought out completely yet. But in my opinion, for example, this is it's not development stuff. It's just kind of the same vein where you care about the product and you care about the driver and you care about what you're putting out or what you're giving to the world or what you're giving to racing. The Chevrolet Corvette program in sports car racing, one of the most famous American muscle cars ever, huge in sports car racing. They have a great team. The factory team is unbelievable. And up until recently, they've not had an American in the car up until the last few seasons. Why? How? Why? But that's the kind of the same thing is that is important to the brand, and Ford as a brand, they make their cars, but in my opinion, Ford is also a racing company, and the fact that they care about their drivers is such a Ford thing to do. And I think it's just, I just thought it was cool. I feel like I was making a good point, and you're not talking, so I don't think I'm making a good point anymore.
No, I don't want to talk over you because you were making a good point. It's that engineering process. It goes.
Gotcha.
That's what it is, and that's.
I forget. You're analytical. I get you.
I gotta hear all of your thoughts. I gotta hear it all. I want to make sure I hear it. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is. They come at it. They come at it from a more analytical approach. They don't say, and that's been the fault of some other Toyota. That's been their fault. Is they go out, they try to sign flashy guys, and they'll get the 2 or 3 years worth of wins or good finishes or whatever, or exposure or whatever they want to call it, whatever they want to get out of that guy. And when that guy, the first moment that guy doesn't perform, they turn on him. They say, "Get out of our car! You're not performing."
They just stick another dude in it.
They just stick another face.
And they, it's if we're talking about the Corvette program, they stick another Brazilian in it, or they stick an Englishman in it, and it's you could stick a talented driver in your development program. You could stick an American in your American car in your sports car series in America. I thought that I came up with that on the fly. I was pretty proud of it. But
I'm proud of it. Good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you.
And here's the example. Here's the tie-in with Ford. You always talk about it. Austin Cindric. Look at how much he's developed as a stock car driver.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, even Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe has become such an impressive driver. I mean, truly impressive. Austin Cindric is improving, and he's fast. Chase Briscoe is impressive. I watch Chase Briscoe, and I get that same wow feeling that people get when they watch Kyle Busch doing something amazing, or they watch any driver that is considered, raw talent. Chase Briscoe has that. He has that factor that's just you watch him drive a race car, and there's poetry in it in a weird way. I don't want to get too deep. Racing isn't deep. It just is what it is. But there is a slight feeling of that with him. It's so impressive, and I don't think he had that when I first started watching him. It's so cool. But I agree with you.
Yeah, it did. It goes back to that drive and that determination to be good, to win races, and to win championships, and that's why these guys that Ford picks are going to have so much success, because they're picking guys that. And that's not to say that, there's some race car drivers out there that don't want to win races, that don't want to win championships. That's not what I'm saying. But they have guys that are willing to put in the time, put in the effort, and they're giving them that platform to do so. They're not saying, you only get X amount of sim time. You only get, they do, but compared to, again, others that have more prospects, they're getting more of that time.
They're giving drivers the comfort and opportunity to build the confidence that they need to improve to the level that they should be at.
Instead of saying, hey, get in this race car and you better win because X driver won in it last year.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Busch drives the same equipment and he wins all the time. So if you get in this equipment and you don't run top 5, you're out after this season. I'm sure. I honestly, I joke, but that's probably a real conversation that has been had in an office somewhere in North Carolina.
Probably. Sadly. That's not how it should work. But
no.
That's why Ford works. Ford works because they're willing to put the time and effort into their guys. And I mean, that's how you conclude this, right? That's how you conclude talking about the Ford development system. They've done a good job of doing that and taking the time to build their guys up and let them gain that confidence. So, with that being said, we'll move on to our next topic. Second is over. Sometimes I just need a little applause, I need to go.
Oh man, they're gonna love that audio and me eating. Very tasty.
What are you eating?
Breadsticks.
That's what I thought. I was thinking maybe they were mozzarella sticks. Are they Little Caesars breadsticks?
No, Olive Garden.
Oh.
I may have got Olive Garden a couple days ago.
When you're here, your family,
When you're here, I'm feeling very much like family right now, eating this breadstick.
That's good.
Talk some more while I take another bite.
Oh yeah, so we had a fun Grand Prix this past weekend. I didn't actually watch too much of it. I was preoccupied with school. And George Russell makes his debut in relief for Lewis Hamilton, who's dealing with COVID. Hope he's recovering. I know he's probably not listening to this ever, but we're all thinking about
friend of the show, Lewis Hamilton.
Friend of the show. I wrote on the show sheet, great run, should have won, ? I mean, it sounded like Mercedes kind of flubbed the strategy.
Yeah, but they flubbed both strategies, and I think Bottas was going to catch him. I don't know if he was going to pass him. He was going to catch him, I think.
Yeah, but come on, Davey. Twitter said Bottas. Botus? Valtteri.
Twitter said butt-ass.
I'm going to call him Valtteri because he's my bro, Valtteri. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, gotcha. Yep.
Twitter was pretty brutal. Saying
I'm gonna
because I saw your tweets on Sunday.
We're gonna lead off. We're gonna lead off with something real fucking quick. All right. If you're one of those people who's saying how bad this looks for Valtteri butt-ass, I want to inform you of something. You have no clue what the fuck you're talking about, and I urge you to learn a little bit more about Formula One. That's really it. We can go deeper into it in a second, but that's what I want to lead off with. That's what I think you need to hear.
Yeah, isn't the theory the car that Lewis Hamilton drives is
It's not a theory. It's not a theory.
It's the better car.
It's not a theory. Literally, I was listening to Off Track with Hinch and Rossi, Hinch's and Alexander Rossi's podcast that they've had. I was listening to that, and Rossi, who came from Formula One, came from Europe, obviously an American, but was in Europe, lived in Europe, raced in Europe, was in the Formula One ladder for a long time, knows a lot about Formula One, was in a few different teams, knows the team dynamic, knows drivers who knew other team dynamics. He even straight up said he wishes that teams having equal cars was a thing that could actually happen, and he wishes the teams actually wanted to have equal cars. because they don't want to have equal cars, because it's way easier to have a number one driver that gets the updates and gets preferable treatment, in strategy, even though Mercedes doesn't say that they do that and they try to be quote unquote fair. Lewis Hamilton has the better car. He gets the updates first. Yeah, they're done developing the 2020 car, but they stopped developing the 2020 car for both teams. Valtteri is not getting updates anymore. Neither is Lewis Hamilton. Guess who's getting more updates because he's the number one driver? Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton had the better car. Has the better car. It blows my mind that people think that because George was driving a Williams and the Williams was really bad. He actually had to learn a whole new car. He had to learn a whole new car, Davey. What do you mean? He had to learn a new car. The motherfucker wasn't going from Formula One to NASCAR. The motherfucker went from a Formula One car to a better Formula One car. What are you talking about? Yes, it's a different car. It has different handling characteristics. Guess what? It does everything better than the Williams. The only difficulty that he had is fitting into the car. While not comfortable, if he can still drive the car, he can still use his ability. And that let me get that out of the way real quick. George Russell is fantastic. But people saying that I'll even go both ways with this. People saying that, this puts Lewis Hamilton out of a ride. He's going to have trouble getting a better contract next year, blah, 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 not getting paid anymore because George Russell almost had a race. No, shut up. Shut up. Lewis Hamilton, first of all, is a lot more than just a driver in Formula One and at Mercedes. He is Mercedes right now. He basically is Formula One. He is the face of it. That didn't happen by accident. He's a really important figure in the team and in the sport and in motor racing as a whole, in my opinion. Can't replace that. On the flip side of the coin, you've messed me up saying his name. Valtteri is not a bad driver. Valtteri slogged the Williams at the beginning of the V6 era up to the front on the podium regularly, often for a Williams that was, getting pretty bad before that and was only getting worse as the seasons went on. Again, Valtteri does not have the better car. When things went wrong at Bahrain this past weekend, who'd they go wrong for first? They went wrong for Valtteri. They totally buggered the whole pit stop situation. They put his 22-lap-old hard tires on. And they completely screwed him out of that race. Totally and completely, threw that race away for him. Obviously, they kind of did the same with George Russell, but George Russell, he had new tires. It was a safety car. He was able to make the time up. He's in a Mercedes. He's in the best car in the grid. And not only is he in the best car in the grid, he's in the best car in the grid that, I'm going to be honest, probably hasn't performed to its full potential in any season ever. I can almost guarantee that. The DAS that they have, the fucking steering assist thing where they pull the wheel back and forth and they get the toe adjustments or whatever it is or whatever it was. I bet you they've had that in their back pocket for seasons.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee it. You can look at NASCAR teams. Jimmy Johnson, when he was going through his championships, I'm sure if you listen to Dale Jr. Daniel, you heard this from Chad Knaus. A whole backlog, lists and lists. I mean, if NASCAR found something, they put something else on the car right then and there that was already ready. Let's not get on the George Russell train just yet. He's a fantastic driver. I think he's going to end up at Williams. He's going to end up at Mercedes from Williams. And also slow down on the Bottas hate. Dude is a phenomenal driver. He's absolutely fantastic. Takes it every once in a while to what people say is the best Formula One driver in the world in Lewis Hamilton. Can't say he's the best Formula One driver in the world, and then when he gets beat, by his teammate, which doesn't happen super often, but it does happen, in the same car, at best the same car. Sorry, I blew out the audio, but at best the same car. You can't ignore that for one race weekend. where someone was in a better Mercedes car than Valtteri Bottas was in. So that's my soliloquy on that. Anyway.
He summed it up. Definitely
Yeah.
summed it up. It's not fair.
That said, real quick, I just gotta say, props to George Russell. Really great weekend.
Mhm.
Despite all that stuff, like I'm mostly mad at fans. I'm not mad at a driver. Obviously, I'm not mad. It's not fair at all.
Right.
I'm mad at fans that were slagging off Valtteri. Really good weekend for George Russell. That was really cool. It was, not cool to see how it ended. I was personally happy with the outcome of the race, which we'll get to, but no, it was a good weekend for him regardless, and he learned a lot, I guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a weird year. That's such a cliche thing to say as we're winding down with only a couple weeks left in it, but it's good to see, there's good stories coming out of it, right? There's things coming. And we know what George Russell has moving forward too, you can see what he does in a top tier when he's not in, Williams' car.
Truth.
A guy that has been performing very well this year won this Grand Prix.
Yes, sir.
Grand Prix. Sergio Perez.
Very happy for Checo. That was a very, very popular win for me.
Why that?
Been in the paddock for seasons upon seasons upon seasons now. Hasn't always made the most of his opportunity, but has always been there. Always been a guy that teams have kind of found themselves having around. I forget if he has funding or not. I'm sure he has some obvious funding that I don't know anything about because sometimes I'm stupid. I just, especially given that he doesn't have a ride next season, and he has, in my opinion, performed very well this season, like you said. I just like him a lot. He's a cool guy. Also, hot take, far more impressive win than a George Russell win would have been, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Uh-huh.
There's been a lot of speculation, though, that he could be coming over to the Americas, specifically North America, to do IndyCar racing. I think this is because everyone sees Alexander Rossi and sees a guy that, didn't have the success over there in F1, and then they're like, oh man, this successful F1 driver, he has to see what Rossi's done, and
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
you're good. You gotta eat them breadsticks before they get cold.
Oh, they're already cold, but it's okay.
Oh. Sad.
Yeah, IndyCar drivers got to be getting pretty fucking tired right now. They're probably pretty fucking tired of this.
Yeah.
They spent all this time in the IndyCar ladder, working their way up, and then a Formula One driver says, I have funding from a European company, and because I have funding from this European company, I can get funding from this American company. And now I have an IndyCar seat. And then IndyCar driver XYZ, who spent 10 years in the Mazda Road to Indy and spent all this time trying to get up the IndyCar ladder, is now without a ride.
Big sad.
Not cool. Not great. Kind of the same feeling I get when IndyCar drivers are like, oh, I want to try sports car racing. And then like drivers who race in sports car racing, for their lives, for their livelihoods, pro drivers who, sometimes, they get paid, they don't get paid a lot, but, they still need the rides, and the driver ranking system doesn't let them have a ride. When another big driver has a ride with more funding, it's just like, don't. Let's fix the driver rankings first before you come over here, bud. Truthfully.
So would that be the move though for Perez? I mean, if he can't get a competitive F1 ride, or you think just staying over there in Europe is the way to go? Because the guy's got talent, right? I mean, that's he's got talent, right? I mean, that's the thing you look at.
Yeah.
It'd be different if a guy that's, in one of these top tier cars and wasn't performing.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is I'm not, like, outside of basically Formula One, I'm not super aware of, how, like, the racing scene in Europe at the moment. So I can't really say if
Well,
it'd be a good move or not.
I mean, you'd have to
Also-
say he's not gonna go. He wouldn't want to go from F1 to say GT3 over there or
Mhm.
something like that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want to. That you're not gonna take a step down, especially when you're young.
Mhm. I think another thing. I honestly think it's almost too late to start unless he's been working on an IndyCar deal.
Hmm.
But it's too late to kind of make that IndyCar switch now with just how much preparation he'll have to do for the ovals.
Yeah.
It's a different breed. He's I mean, Checo's not a small guy, but Formula One drivers in general are pretty lean. Need to be pretty freaking strong driving IndyCar.
Mm.
Poor little Zach Veach.
You are like the king of transitions tonight, man.
Yeah, I know. I saw that one kind of just happening. Speaking of Zach Veach.
Speaking of Gamebridge and 26 car, Colton Herta, it was announced today that he was formerly the driver at Andretti Harding Steinbrenner Racing.
Yep.
That 88 car. Now he's going to be moving over to the 26 Gamebridge car. Sounds like Andretti's wanted to move him over to the mothership for a while. That's the right move? That's the right move, right? You want to put the guy on the main team.
Yeah, it is. It is 100%. Colton's going to be a good fit there, alongside like Alexander Rossi and all them. Yeah, that's a good move. I think it's a power move. I think Colton Herta is going to be exceptional in the future.
Yeah. I mean, what he won that the race at Coda 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the thing. Already exceptional, but
I
think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, what he's only. He's like a year older than me. Maybe he's 21, 22.
He's not very old. Let me check.
Pretty young.
Yeah, 20 years old.
Oh God, I'm 20.
Turns 21 next March.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm 23. So
this is the way life goes these days. So what would be your outlook then? I mean, Andretti, I don't think they were as good as they wanted to be this last year.
No, they were not.
2021 outlook, I would think that, bringing in another good guy, bringing him closer, bringing him in-house, it's going to help with the performance of the team.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to compete for championships. Off the bat, they're going to want to. And I think I say that because I think that they can.
Yeah.
I don't know that they will, but those teams definitely can. Rossi's no slouch, so he's going to have a good teammate in Rossi. Particularly, in my opinion, they're very good friends, I believe, or they get along very well. Couple race wins, I see it.
Mm-hmm. You have Captain America still over there.
Yeah. Future looks good. Future looks good for Colton Herta.
Yeah. Future looks good for Mr. Colton Herta moving over to that for 26 Gamebridge machine. All right, Davey. It's now my favorite part. My favorite part of this podcast. You want to know why?
Your favorite part? What is it?
It's when I get to interview you about the
I
latest
thought it was going to be
Red
the
Bull.
part where we advertise our merch so you can make more money. Gotcha.
Wow, Davey. I appreciate the craft. The craft. Well, we'll talk about that after this though, because you had to be like that. But United States Online Racing League Red Bull Cup Series from Anchorage this last week. I had the pleasure of being announcer for that race. You can now check it out on youtube.com/JoJo Network.
Please watch it.
Please watch the first hour of it.
Please watch it. We really
Come on, man, I keep hitting the scene.
Oh, so all right. You're interviewing me. I'm ready for the questions. So let's hear it.
Okay, Davey. It was a long night. It was a long night for a lot of people. Broadcasters, JTN racing fans around the world.
And the drivers. I promise you it was a long night. Good Lord.
Yeah,
Good
but some of them deserved
long.
it. Some of them deserved that long night.
Oh,
I'm not going to name names, but some of them definitely deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
You know who you are. What went wrong for the 75 team, though?
What went wrong for the 75 team? Austin Spencer.
Oh no, he's singling a guy out.
And that's it. That's the tweet. We were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I couldn't do anything about that. We had a great car. We had a good car. Our car wasn't even that good in practice, again. And we were running up top 5, and the car was only getting better.
Mm.
I was ready for it, man. Like, I was so ready for it. I didn't think we were going to win. I think we were going to get a top 5, make up some points, get some regular season stuff going. But we're just going to keep getting wrecked. It's fine. Whatever. I'll figure it out.
Hey, you won at Vegas, so it's okay.
Won at Vegas. That's all that matters. We're in the playoffs.
Playoffs. And we're not saying that wrong. It is playoffs.
It is the playoffs at the United States Online Racing League Cup Series.
Got a lot of memers over there, but you know what was a meme? I was listening to the, chatter post race.
Yeah.
And a lot of the team debriefs that, because I, got that access, right? Got that hard card to get down there in the garage area.
Are you talking about a specific altercation?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not going to go there because
there was a fight.
Yeah. Who was in that fight, Davey?
What are you talking about, Joe?
Anyways, let's talk about the seams. It seemed like there was a lack of.
Seems like, I don't know.
Seems like there was a lack of.
Sure seems like it.
I wasn't trying to do it, so I'm not going to acknowledge you, but people apparently think that the and this is more talking about the way a computer game works. So feel free if you want to skip ahead like maybe a minute or two, you'd probably get to a good point. We're back to talking racing, but people apparently think that textures on the racetrack correlate to grips in the track INI file, is the way the track's set up. Can you debunk that theory real quick?
I have never opened up Sandbox, so I can't say for sure. There are some tracks. So here's the thing. NASCAR Racing Season 2003 tracks, they have X amount of grips. I don't know. They have asphalt, concrete, something, paint, something, whatever the grips are. They're dispersed across a racetrack. They're dispersed across the banking in the corner, and you can attribute different numbers to those grips. Now, that is something that happens on the surface of the racetrack. That is not something that is attributed to a certain certain section or a certain seam or a certain line of asphalt around the racetrack. Those are fake. Those are not real. Those are just textures. Now, there are some tracks. It's always very impressive. There are some tracks where they line up those differing grips, where concrete and asphalt, for example, where those touch, they put a seam there. That's pretty cool. And in that case, that would be how that happens. That's the case at like one of the Michigans we used to use at the USORL. I don't know about any other tracks, but I know there was a Michigan that was like that. And there genuinely was a seam where if you went across it, the car would break loose. Not entirely realistically, because you would spin out every time, but you would feel it. At Anchorage, there was a seam. There was a difference in grip that you could feel, but it wasn't over a seam, and it also wasn't one that made you particularly loose. So, you wouldn't spin out. In fact, everyone in the server at the time was saying that you would get tight when you ran across that seam, and you'd go up the racetrack. The way the car would react over the grip, you'd kind of do a little bebop, and you go up the racetrack a little bit. It'd get a little snug. That kind of thing was happening. There was not, however, any cases that were proven where you actually went over the seam and you got loose and spun out. Now, I will say this, Joe. There seems to be some theory out there. There seems to be some theory out there that amongst various people, that if you've wrecked over 15 times in the season, imaginary seams start popping up for you and for you only, where when you run over them, you spin out. Because clearly, like, obviously, if you've been wrecking a lot, obviously you wouldn't be wrecking more, right? You would have learned from your mistake, I suppose. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know
Maybe.
what's going on. Maybe you would have. So you wouldn't wreck anymore. You'd go into the corner, and if it wrecked, you'd just be like, wow, that's never happened. And it's like, maybe that's the case. Maybe when you wreck more, there's more. Every wreck, there's a seam added. And then once you hit a certain number of wrecks, the amount of seams stays at a certain number. And then the amount of grip between the seams increases. So you're more likely to spin out if you've wrecked 40 million times in a season. And then you start to develop a condition where the thing I just said, where you're like, oh, I don't know how that happened. That hasn't happened at all. You start to say it over and over and over again, to the point to where you spin out 3 times in one race. Every single time you spin out, you say, wow, this never happened. As I'm avoiding you for the 3rd time. I don't know, it's just a theory.
Just a theory. Just putting our science hats on, Just,
Yes. Gotta send that one to Austie. Austie will like that one.
He'll like this part.
Yeah.
Austie, a friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Got a lot of friends of the show.
Friend of the show. Friend of the show. What a shitty way to describe someone that you're referring to while they're not here. Friend of the show. Salt of the earth. Love that guy. Jeez. All right. Formula One. George Russell.
No. Plug the merch. Plug the merch.
Oh, okay. Speaking of the USORL and shitty drivers like Jack. Sorry, cut that out. Speaking of the USORL, sorry, Jack, you're really not that bad. You just spin out a lot, man.
You guys stop doing that.
You're like you'd be so good if you just added wedge. If you added wedge, you'd honestly probably run top 5 all season because you're so fast. And that's not me being. I'm not even being a dick. I'm being serious.
I can see his face. He's definitely being serious.
I know. I actually am. USORL merch. No one's gonna buy it anymore.
Yeah, no, because that doesn't go to you. That goes to JTN, so it doesn't help pay your salary.
So, okay, JTN merch, USRL season T-shirt with the schedule on the back with the denoted races that JTN is broadcasting. I have it. I've acquired it. It's a good shirt. I've worn it the past couple USRL nights. Very comfy. I'll be wearing it this Saturday when I stream the Martinsville race, and the next Saturday when I stream the race that's after that. I don't know what race is after that. I'll figure it out, but I'll be streaming because JTN isn't broadcasting. You want to know how I figured that out? From the T-shirt. Get the T-shirt. You're doing yourself a favor. Fake Races Podcast merch. I have the shirt. I have the hoodie. I want to get a crew neck. Still out of stock on the white. Kind of annoying. I might just get a light gray one. But I got that stuff. Maybe get some stickers. You should get a sticker. That's what you should get. You should get a Fake Races Podcast sticker. That would be pretty cool. You have a decent logo. I'd make some changes to it, but it's pretty good. We'll stick to it. I'd make some change. Well, because I kind of made it. I'm like, like everything I make, I'm like, I'm just looking at everything.
Our logo's beautiful.
It is. It is quite nice. I am obviously still fond of it, mainly because it is ours. Buy that, get the sticker, or the hoodie,
or the shirt,
or the T-shirt, or the crew neck.
It's getting cold outside.
There's also I think it's pronounced JTN. They have merch too. They have JTN regular merch is what I've heard. Yeah. I have a couple of them, I think, in my closet.
I think you do.
I have a couple. They might be really soft.
Oh my gosh, we did not skip out on the quality of the products we chose to have on the store.
I've heard that. I've heard that about the shirts that I might have.
They're so soft. They legit. That is this. I love the shirts that.
I'm actually not memeing anymore.
No, I know.
No memes. No memes. Shirts are soft to sell. Yeah. And the hoodie is unbelievable. Yeah, do it. Do yourself a favor. I can't wait to try the crew neck.
We also have Tommy's World merch that came out.
Oh my goodness gracious! Go watch Tommy's World.
Yeah, do that.
Don't watch the race. Just go watch Tommy's World, and then go buy yourself a Tommy's World shirt.
There you go.
Damn
But
right.
we got JTN logo hoodies that just got posted to the store as well, so that's a nice little alternative too. It's a little cheaper for you. It's basic JTN logo, but again, buying our merch, it's a great way to help support us. But the best way to support us is to make sure that if you haven't already, you have liked the video if you're on YouTube, follow us if you're on Spotify. Make sure you're subscribed to JTN on YouTube. Even if you're listening on Spotify, you want to subscribe to us on YouTube because that's how you get the live broadcasts. Also head over to our Facebook and Twitter pages because giving us a like or a follow over there, that really helps us continue to grow the brand here at JTN. So, Davey, let's get on to another fun topic here in just a second. So then you move on, right? And another guy that
oh boy, here we go.
I mean, we'll make this one quick because if you got something to say.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm waiting.
Santino Ferrucci supposedly
Sorry, what?
Supposedly gonna run 20 races. It sounds like working on a deal with Our Motorsports for some reason to run 20 races in Xfinity next season. I am confused.
He's gonna suck, and it's gonna be great.
Is he out of his car? Indy car? Is that what it is?
I don't know, but I just know he's gonna suck in fenders.
But come on, he was so good.
Yeah, the Santino Ferrucci, the driver, had a couple of impressive runs. However, he's also the big. He was the big Formula One prospect until he pissed it away with his behavior. I just I don't like him. I don't like him. He can go drive something else and not come to NASCAR. Don't need more stupid people here like that. In my opinion.
So then, what does it mean for our motorsports? I mean, it was announced.
I don't know what team that fucking is. I'm gonna
it's
be honest with you.
It's the 02 car. It's the car Brett Moffitt.
I don't.
Okay. Well, okay. They're trying to build. They're trying to build, and they decide.
Motorsports. Oh my! Hold on. Let me look at the fucking Our Motorsports car. Hello. I don't know what this car is. Go to.
Yeah.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
They had just signed Brett Moffitt to run full time next year, and then Moffitt decided, "Oh no, I'm also going to sign full time in trucks, so he'll compete for a truck championship." I don't know what that's with Nice, so I don't know what that says about his confidence in the. Yeah, that's exactly. That's weird.
Not a great start.
But Moffitt was in that car most of the year this past year too. He's probably upwards of 20, 25 races. Maybe even more. Think about it.
Yeah.
But for a team like that to go try to get a big name, not necessarily for good reasons, but a big name. Is it just grasping at those straws, trying to get some connections?
I would imagine so.
Sad.
Especially in that car. I mean, yeah, didn't really run great, that car. I'm looking at the stats right now.
Yeah.
Sixth at Richmond, 7th at Kansas, and a 7th at Pocono, 6th at Charlotte. Those are really, they're decent finishes, but it's also Brett Moffitt, who I think elevates equipment, in my opinion. He's a good driver.
Yeah.
And the other standout finishes are super speedways and road courses, 2 road courses which Andy Lally were in the car for. So,
Oof.
driver maybe carried that car a little bit.
Maybe. But yeah, I'm perplexed by that. Honestly, I'm perplexed.
Actually, and you know what, Joe?
Yeah.
Speaking of Andy Lally, one of those races that Andy Lally finished 5th in was Road America.
It was.
The other one was Daytona Road Course.
Whoa. What does that mean, Davey?
it means that I think Andy Lally might be a shout here this season because Auto Club said no, and now Daytona Road Course is Auto Club.
Yeah, so NASCAR today announced that they're going to move the... That's it. Hey, transitions. I love it, Davey. I love it. You're getting so good at this co-hosting thing.
I was trying to set it up for you, but, it's fine.
I wanted you to go through it all.
I'll take the burden.
It's a learning experience here on the Fake Racers podcast. Daytona Road Course, it's going to replace Auto Club because NASCAR couldn't get clearances or whatever from the state of California because they are the state of California. That's not, it's crazy times, but whatnot. It's just they're a little more strict. They're on the stricter side of the scale.
Let's say they're taking the pandemic seriously.
Very seriously.
Whether you think it's real or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. So Daytona Road Course is going to move to the second race of the year. The Homestead was originally supposed to be the second race. It moves to the third race, which was Auto Club. Auto Club's going to keep the 2-mile configuration for 2022. Because I'm assuming construction and whatnot, they're not going to have time. They probably won't be able to start the project until late next year.
Yep. Which is sad. Kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it's just... I'm okay with it, though. Who cares? Just Auto Club. The track's good, so, it's not like, oh, man, we're going to have to delay reconfiguring Kentucky. Oh, shucks. You know what I mean?
No.
So we'll still at least get that final race on the 2-mile configuration out there in California, but...
with the new car, by the way.
With the new car. That'll be fun. That'll be exciting. It's almost like we have another 2-mile track that we decided to take a race away from. The Daytona Road Course, though, initially when NASCAR announced in the spring, I believe, before the pandemic, they announced that the Busch Clash this year was going to be on the road course. Now, with the Busch Clash still being slated for the road course, I think it's going to put some teams at a disadvantage considering there's not going to be any practice.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be guys... Because you're using the current car. And people are going to say, well, just change the spoiler. I've seen that. We'll make it the lowdown for 750 package instead of the 550 like you used last year for one of the races. They still have notes. You're talking about very smart human beings. They're still going to be able to figure out information that they can use even if you change the package. So I kind of want them to move it back to the oval. I didn't want them to put it on the road course in the first place, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe shorten it, but don't put it on the road course. And the truck race too. This is the one that's funny. The truck series now has 4 road courses, because Coda, Watkins Glen, Canadian Tire, and now the Daytona Road Course, and 2 dirt races. And they only have a 22 race schedule, so that's over 25% of their schedule is on non-traditional racing NASCAR stock car tracks. Because they lose the race from Homestead then. So trucks won't go to Homestead this year, so that's sad. Homestead always puts on a good show, but any thoughts?
I think it's weird that the truck race got moved. Don't see why it should have been moved.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to let the teams just stay at the track with their haulers. Because if you're a Truck Series team, I don't know if they're doing practice for trucks in Xfinity for Daytona. So then you only send one hauler down with 2 cars. The hauler doesn't have to come back. You don't have to spend all that money on travel. I don't think that's the move, but
Yeah. I'm against it in the first place.
Just moving the race in general.
Or I'm against it.
You don't like more road courses?
Just go somewhere. I like more road courses, but just go somewhere else.
Don't pick Daytona. Well, here's the thing, Davey. Tickets.
Tickets.
And TV revenue.
What about it?
If NASCAR moved it, where else would NASCAR move it to? Where they could keep the tickets and TV revenue?
Do you really want me to rattle off every track in the southeastern United States that
NASCAR owns? That's the problem.
I don't want.
That's it. Oh, don't get
stupid either way.
He's so disappointed.
I think it's dumb either way. Go to fucking Charlotte. I don't care.
Oh.
Roval.
That's probably what they'll do.
Do the Roval backwards.
That's probably what they'll do with Sonoma. If Sonoma gets canceled, they'll move it to the Roval.
Honestly, no, just move Sonoma to the green times, please. Please, end of the season, do Sonoma green. Oh my god.
Sonoma green edition.
Yes. It's so pretty.
Well, speaking of fantasy, iRacing's getting a big update tomorrow.
You dick. Sorry, good.
What?
Made fun of my dreams of green Sonoma.
Well, it's a fantasy, honestly. NASCAR wants to go there in the middle of the summer.
It's bad.
It's
Stupid
not...
and bad. Stupid and bad.
Not saying it's a good decision. iRacing's got some new content coming out this week with the 2021 Season 1 build.
Do they?
There are some fun things. As a person that likes to paint fake race cars, having a 3D car viewer is a big addition, especially because you don't have to own the cars.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like. You don't have to own the cars to actually use the car viewer. You just have to have it actually downloaded to your machine. So, hey, painters out there, I'm sorry you paid all that money to buy all of the content.
True.
But now
also
you know.
I'm gonna paint cars for iRacing more. Rather than just I'll just do black and a stripe.
Because it'll be easier because you won't have to load the sim.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is a big feature. We also have some physics updates that are going to model the air on the wall. So, like, the force with the stock cars, right? That like, bubble cushion of air they always talk about. So, like, that's how they can rip Homestead, right? That'll be fun. I'm excited for that, because I like ripping the top. And it's really hard to do that right now in iRacing.
It's, like, impossible.
That's why it's fun. It's hard. There's also damage model updates, and there's just a lot of fun stuff. IndyCar finally gets the new damage model, so you can have your tires just flapping around.
Yes, we'd love to see it.
But anything else, Davey? Anything you want to say?
What? Anything I want to say? You know what? There is something I want to say. I want to say Swiffer wet jet.
Wow. That was inspiring. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, well, wrapping up the show. Davey, where can they find out more about you? Just gonna gloss over that. I don't know what to do with that. It's like the damn questions I get while I'm broadcasting by myself. Like, what are we doing, folks? Like, you know who you are, asking me all these meme questions, and I'm sitting up here in the booth scrambling all over the place, making sure y'all ain't saying dirty things in the live chat.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. That's bad. Real bad. I always have to clean it up with my Swiffer wet jet. It's not good. Where can they find me is what he asked, and the answer is in Florida. But if you mean online, you can find me on Twitch at D7H5er with an ER at the end. You can find me on Instagram at D7H5. That's my real life stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Davey Hazard. I'm gonna burp. No, I'm not. I did a small one. At Davey Hazard. That I tweet about NASCAR and sports and depression usually. Those are the three places you can find me.
Real quick. Was there a shot taken at us this past week about starting the podcast?
Wait, what?
Fine. I saw a tweet.
Oh, the tweet that I retweeted?
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a great tweet.
Were you taking a shot at us or something?
No, I was taking a shot at myself. Alright, it was funny. It was friggin' funny, all right.
It was funny.
The tweet, since I don't want to, you know what? No, you have to look for it. Just kidding. You don't have to look for it. The tweet. Oh, I gotta find it now. The tweet says, "Why do men start podcasts instead of going to therapy?" It's a very good tweet. Made me laugh for a long time. I enjoyed it.
Oh,
If you want to see my reply to it, go to @DaveyHazard on Twitter. I got 5 likes. Make it 6. You know.
Look at you, social media influencer Davey Hazard.
That is me.
If you guys want to find out more about me, well, I mean, you can check out my Twitch @Joto2 on Twitch. But really, I mean, the best way to keep up with me, I guess, is on JTN. I mean, that's kind of all I do nowadays. Seems like you don't want to follow my Twitter. You don't want to do that. There isn't a lot there. It's me like retweeting stuff, trying to get cool like NASCAR T-shirts and diecast, and because I'm one of those. Free stuff's good. I like free stuff in this household.
Free stuff is good.
Free stuff is good, but Davey, it was a long episode tonight. Thank you for again co-hosting. It's been a fun time here. We're gonna keep doing it. Next week we'll be talking about the Chevy driver development system. So we'll be going through all 3 of them the next 3 weeks. I have finals next week, so next week's going to be a fun week. So next week's episode should be coming out probably Wednesday night into Thursday morning for you folks at home, while this week's episode should be Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. I just go through and compile everything. But hey, I'm not an editor. I'm a personality. But for all of us here at JTN, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Make sure you go over, like everything that we post. We appreciate that. As always, subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't already. Follow us on Spotify podcasts, because we're now official podcasters because we're on Spotify.
We are. We're official. We're officially official. We have a new segment coming up in the future podcasts.
We do.
I'd like to get the ball rolling on that. Not now though. But
you want to give them any hints?
Swiffer Wet Jet.
All right, Swiffer Wet Jet, folks. Have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you guys. You'll hear it from us. We'll hear from you next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening very much.